Golden Radio Hour.
Worried about the United Nations? Anxious about those bills piling up? Want to get away from it all?
CBS offers you Escape.
You are the victim of a native witch doctor, pursued from the west coast of Africa to the west end of London by the grinning face of a dead man. You are under the curse of a poorer man.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to the dark lowlands of West Africa and the mind of a man who scoffed at native magic, as H.G. Wells paints it in his gripping story, Pollock and the Poorer Man.
I had spent considerable time in Africa, but I have given little credence to the many superstitions of the natives there. Voodoo curses, weird incantations of witch doctors, and the like had always seemed a pretty silly business to me. But that was before the affair of Pollock and the Poorer Man. Even then, while the thing was happening, I took little notice. It was only when I got back to England some months later and went to see Pollock climbing up the 3 flights of stairs to his lonely bedroom that I began to realize the ghastly truth of it. One look at him was enough. I had never before seen a man so unnaturally wasted, so prematurely aged and broken, so eerily mad as this man lying on the bed and looking up at me with haggard eyes.
It was good of you to come, Waterhouse.
Nonsense, old chap. I just thought I'd look you up and say hello. But I had no idea I would find you ill.
Ill? Yes, I suppose I am ill. I suppose that's what you'd call it.
But what in heaven's name is the matter, Pollock?
I say, come closer, will you? I can barely see you.
Why, yes, of course. I'll just drop a chair.
Oh, no!
Pollock, man, what's the matter?
Oh, no. Take it away. Take it away.
What are you talking about? What is it, man?
That thing in your hand. Take it away, please, for heaven's sake.
What?
Take it away.
In my hand? But Pollock, this is only my hat.
Your hat?
Why, yes, of course. Just an ordinary black Homburg. Now, if its style is offensive to
no,
you,
No, I just put it on the table, the floor, somewhere where I can't see it, please.
Well, of course, old man.
Yes, I suppose you think I'm mad.
Now, don't be.
I know you do. Everybody does. Because I'm used to it now. And the worst of it is, perhaps I am.
I say, Pollock.
Only I don't think so. Because I do see it. I don't care if no one else does. I can see it.
See what?
The head. That hideous face following me everywhere, grinning at me. And always upside down.
Pollock, what are you talking about?
You don't believe me either. Well, look at my wrist. It's broken. The bandage is still on it. That's real enough, isn't it?
Well, yes, of course. Broken, you say?
Yes. It did that. And my other accident, when I first got back to England, they said I walked in front of a bus, but I know better. It did that, too.
A head?
Exactly. You wouldn't expect to see a man's head come rolling down the middle of a busy street in London, now, would you?
Now, Pollock, you'd better lie back, rest a bit. I'll call a doctor.
Oh, you too. And I thought you might understand. After all, you were with me when it started. It was you who first warned me, who sent me home.
You don't mean that business with the Poorer Man?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. You remember how it started? We were camped at that little village on the lagoon behind the Turner Peninsula. It was swampy and hot, and I was bored to tears. Maybe that's why I did it. But anyway, when I got back, you were furious with me.
No, you're a fool, Pollock. You've got to take it back immediately, do you hear?
Oh, what possible difference could it make, Waterhouse? Why all this fuss, old boy? It's only a little wooden statue. Can't be worth anything except for a curio.
You're not that stupid, Pollock. You know very well this is a Porra idol. You must have stolen it from the hut of a witch doctor.
Well, and what of it?
Don't you see? To them, this is sacred. As sacred as an altar cross to a Christian. You've not only committed a crime in their eyes, but a terrible sacrilege as well.
Oh, don't tell me they're going to sick their painted gods on me. Oh, I should be frightened to death.
Before they can do anything, you're going to take this back where you found it and apologize to the Porra man.
Apologize to an illiterate black witch man? Are you crazy?
Pollock, I've had about as much of you as I can stand. You're one of those infernal fools who think a black man isn't a human being. I can't turn my back, but you're running crossways to them, getting into some scrape or other. The third time this month, and this time it's serious.
Are you telling me you're going to send me home?
I honestly think it would be best.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm all for it. I'd be very happy to get out of this sticky, dirty, godforsaken place.
Very well. But before you go, Pollock, for the good of the expedition, you've got to take that thing back and apologize.
Oh, I don't think I'd better.
Why not?
Well, tell the truth, I don't think they'd give me a chance to apologize.
All right. Tell me, what happened?
Oh, nothing very much, except... Well, as I was carrying the thing away, one of those chaps popped up and saw it. Started yelling, trying to take it from me.
Yes, go on.
Well, we had a bit of a tussle. I got away.
Go on, Pollock.
We were on the bank of the river, and I toppled him over, that's all.
He fell into the river.
Yes, I think he may have hit the rocks first.
Was he badly hurt?
I don't know. I didn't stop to find out.
He was dead, wasn't he?
I really don't know.
Oh, you fool.
Oh, it was an accident. I had no
An
intention...
accident, a lot they care. It was bad enough with the idol, but you've probably killed a man. We're in for it now.
Well, there's nothing to be frightened about.
Nothing. In the first place, I should think even your conscience would suffer a little. The second, you don't seem to understand about this Porra business. It rules the country. It's the law, religion, medicine, everything. And these Porra are the most vindictive men on earth. The one whose idol you stole and whose follower you killed will be duty-bound to do something about it. And there's no telling what he will do.
Oh, come now. You don't believe in these voodoo curses and things?
Of course not. I'm thinking of something much more real than that.
I mean, you might try something rough.
I can only advise you to lie low until we can get you out of here in the morning. I'll take you as far as Sulima and see you safe aboard a steamer.
You needn't. I can go alone from here.
Not far. You still don't understand this business. You wouldn't get a quarter of a mile from this camp alone.
I still thought you were making a mountain out of a molehill, Waterhouse. But I must admit, I didn't sleep much that night. I lay there on the mat in my hut and listened to the sounds of the village. And then later to the noises of the night-wakening jungle. Sometime after midnight, I must have dozed off because I awoke with a start. For a moment, I was confused, but I sensed something wrong. And then, framed against the moonlight square of the door, I saw a hand upraised, and in it, a knife.
Stop it! Stop or I'll shoot! Stop, you devil, you! Pollock, what is it? What happened?
I missed the beggar, Waterhouse. I missed him.
Who missed who? What happened?
The Porra man. Waterhouse, he was in my hut. He had a knife. He tried to kill me.
Now, wait a minute. Wait till I find a light. There. Are you all right, man?
Oh, I'm all right. I just saw it in time. I rode aside and... Look.
Eh?
In my bed. The knife.
Oh, that was a narrow one. Well, perhaps now you understand the seriousness of this.
Waterhouse, I saw his face. He stopped just at the door for a second. He was crouched down and he looked back at me from under his arm. His face was etched clearly in the moonlight. It was upside down. I'll never forget it.
I'll get you a drink.
Listen, Waterhouse, listen. He glared back at me with his painted face upside down and streaked with those hideous scars they cut in their cheeks. I'll see that in my dreams.
Steady on, old man. Here you are. Drink this.
All right. Waterhouse. The idol's gone. I've just noticed the idol's gone. He took it. It's gone.
Yes.
Well, then it's all over. He got what he wants. He won't bother me again, will he?
I'm afraid there's more to it than that.
But he's got the blasted idol back, and he won't try it again. Oh, will he?
I've just noticed something too, Pollock. There's something here on the floor. One of your shots clipped off the tip of his little finger. It's too bad you aren't a better shot.
Why? Why'd you say that?
Because I'm afraid we haven't seen the last of this business yet.
You were more right than you knew, Waterhouse. The next morning was only the beginning. We were standing by the river and supervising packing.
I'm glad we're getting out of here. There's something brewing, or things wouldn't be so quiet.
Oh, what would be brewing?
A stink in a copper pot, probably. Dancing in a circle of skulls, putting curses on you.
Oh, that. What can he do?
How the devil should I know? They're versatile people. They know a lot of rum dodges. The best thing to do... Look out! Oh, man, that was close.
What was it?
One of their beastly poisoned arrows in the tree behind you. Missed your head by inches.
No.
Came from over there in the bush.
Well, let's do something. Let's chase him something.
No use now. Never find him in there. Best thing for us to do is to get out of here quick.
Well, we got out all right. You remember how we went down the river, keeping as far from the banks as possible? You thought I was safe when you got me to Salima and said goodbye, didn't you, Waterhouse? So did I. You said goodbye and went back to the interior. Nothing happened for 2 days, and I was beginning to feel that the whole thing was just a nasty dream. And then as I was walking in the compound, I was hit in the arm with a slug. It was a long shot. The bullet was spent. I only got a flesh wound. But I knew he was there. And I decided to confide in Pereira, the little Portuguese who had rented me a hut in his compound. He took it seriously.
It is a personal question, you know. It's revenge, see? And he must hurry because you will leave the country.
Yes, I'll be on the boat to Freetown in 3 more days. Then I'll be rid of him forever.
Perhaps. Then there's this magic. Of course, I don't believe in it. Superstition. But still, it's not nice to think that wherever you are, there's a black man spends a moonlight night, sometimes dancing around a fire to send you bad dreams. You have any bad dreams?
Well, there. Keep seeing the beggar's head upside down, grinning at me, showing all his teeth the way he did in the hut. Now, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's not pleasant either.
Then they say poor men send snakes. You seen any snakes lately?
Well, only one. I killed one this morning on the floor under my hammock. Almost stepped on him when I got up.
Of course, it is coincidence. Still, I would keep eyes open. Then there is the pains in the legs and arms.
I thought they were caused by miasma.
Probably they are. When did they begin?
Why, 3 nights ago, the night... Oh, blast it, it's nonsense. If I could just meet this devil face to face, with a gun in my hand...
You might shoot him. But then he might shoot you. I think he do not want to kill you. Anyway, not yet. Their idea is scare and worry a man with their spells and narrow misses and pains and bad dreams and all that until he's sick of life. Of course, it's all talk, see? You must not worry about it.
No, of course not.
But I wonder what he'll be up to next.
Perhaps it is I who shall be up to something.
What do you mean?
Never mind. But I'm not one to just sit and take this. That very afternoon, I had a conversation with a roughneck Mendai tribesman I found there in Salima. He showed me a little iron dagger and demonstrated how one struck at the back of the neck. He agreed to do the job for the price of a double-barrel gun with an ornamental lock. I went back to Parea's, feeling better than I had in days. That night, the Portuguese and I were sitting in his living room playing cards, when suddenly the Mendai rough strode in without so much as a knock.
Who is it? What do you want?
Oh, it's you.
Have done what you tell me. Have proof.
What is it you have in the package? Is that blood dripping?
Proof. Here.
His head. Oh, no.
This man you want. Now I get gone.
You didn't have to bring this. I didn't ask for such proof.
You mean, Senor Pollock, you got him killed? You did not kill him yourself?
Why should I?
But he will not be able to take it off now.
What do you mean, take it off?
Look at the cards. They are all spoiled with this blood.
What do you mean, take what off?
You must send me a new pack from Freetown. You can buy them there.
Take what off?
It is only a superstition, I forgot. The natives say if the witch, he was a witch, but it is all rubbish.
Go on.
Well, they say you must make the Poro man take the curse off or kill him yourself. It is very silly.
Gone. No. Yes.
I'll make it 2 guns if you'll take that beastly thing away.
No. 1 gun. No.
All right. Freya, that gun you have for sale, give it to him. I have the money right here.
Yes. Over here. Now, take it and go.
Thanks.
It is funny how the head sits upside down.
Just the way I saw him that night. Just the way I see him in my dreams.
Like it was weighted that way. You will take him with you when you go. Maybe take him now. My cards are all spoiled. There is a man sells them in Freetown. You should have killed him yourself.
Stop it! I took the thing to my hut, and no matter what I did, it always came to rest upside down and glaring at me. I got a shovel. I buried it in the soft earth behind the hut. But in the middle of the night, I was awakened by some sound in my room. Oh, what is it? Who's there? Speak up or I'll shoot. Oh, a dog. Only a dog. Yes, it's only a dog. But in the morning, when I awoke and started to get out of bed, there it was, in the center of the floor, glaring at me upside down. It was uncanny until I remembered the dog. I found his paw prints in the dug-up earth outside, and I knew how it got there. I took the thing down to the river. I threw it as far as I could into the current. At last I'd be rid of it. That morning, I killed 2 snakes. But late in the afternoon, the little steamer arrived that would take me away from this insane land of the Paro and Freetown and civilization. I had almost begun to feel gay as that boat carried me swiftly away from the shores of the Poro land. At last I would be free, and soon I'd be back where Poro and curses and nightmares would be forgotten. I was standing at the rail, sighing with relief, when the captain of the steamer, whom I'd met before, strolled up and began to make conversation. After the usual exchange of pleasantries, he said,
I picked up a rum curio on the beach this go.
It's a thing I never saw done this side of India before.
Why is that so?
Yeah, the head of one of these porro chaps, all ornamented with knife cuts.
What?
I say, what's the matter, old chap? You're green in the face. I wouldn't have took you for a bad sailor.
Oh, I'm quite all right.
Well, this head I was telling you about is a bit queer in a way. I've got it in a jar of spirits in my cabin, and I'm hanged if it don't float upside down.
What?
Here I say, old chap, what's the matter? Stuart! Stuart!
That was the last straw, I suppose. Something seemed to snap in my brain. And for the rest of the voyage, I lay there in the bunk, staring at the ceiling. And I had the strange sensation that the boat was made of glass, transparent, and that I could see up through the ceiling into the captain's cabin, see the poorer man's face floating in a jar of alcohol upside down, grinning at me. I suppose the actual head is still in the captain's cabin in Freetown, but it didn't matter. The poorer man's work had been done by then, because now I carried it with me everywhere, in my brain. I saw it everywhere, anywhere. Any object that was round, like a hat or a pillar or a vase, suddenly developed features when I looked at it. Ugly, scarred features with a grinning, mocking mouth. Features turned upside down. When I docked in London, I went straight to my banker's office in Cornhill.
And the security is all in order, Mr. Pollock. You shall have to watch things, of course, but all in all, you shall have enough to live quite comfortably and to enjoy a reasonable amount of freedom. Then, too... I say, Pollock, what are you staring at so fixedly?
That thing, hanging from your mantelpiece.
Oh, yes, I see. The potted fern. Rather pretty one, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Yes, very pretty.
I must do something about it, though. It's always dripping water down on the fender of the fireplace. Makes it rusty.
I was wondering about that. It looks red, almost like blood.
Rust, you know.
Yes. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. Can you recommend a physician for mental troubles? I've got a little, what do you call it? Hallucination. The poor man grinned at me fiendishly, and I stared back at him. The banker watched me very curiously for a moment, and then he gave me the address of a doctor, and I left his office. That's when my accident happened. To a man who's been many months in the jungle of busy London streets, confusing enough. But when a head comes rolling down the middle of the street, and between your legs... No! I was in the hospital for weeks. The only permanent injury, however, was the loss of the tip of my little finger. By strange coincidence, the same fingertip of the left hand that I'd shot off the poorer man that first night. Well, even in the hospital, the poorer man was with me all the time, everywhere. The doctors couldn't help me. My friends couldn't either. So I tried cycling in the country. But that thing kept rolling along beside me and getting tangled up in the wheels and spilling me. That's how I got the broken wrist. Well, the worst came only last week. I'd just come back from a long walk, hoping to be tired enough to go to sleep. And as usual, that bronze vase was over there in front of the big French window. And it... well, perhaps the poor man enjoys the view of the street 3 floors below. Anyway, this night, I felt a little devil-may-care, so I turned round to it and I looked him in the eye and I said, "So, you're still here, are you, my ugly shadow?"
Yes, Pollock. I'm still here.
What did you say?
I said I'm still here. And I always will be.
No, No, not that too, not that. No. No. So, now you understand, Waterhouse? I not only see the poor man, I hear him, too.
Pollock, old chap, this is frightful.
Oh, it is rather, isn't it?
I mean, you are ill, man, very ill. Now, surely there's something someone can do, some doctor.
What can any doctor do? Can he take off the poor man's curse?
Now, Pollock, that's nonsense. And you know it.
Oh, is it?
Of course, man. It's all in your mind. All, what do they call it? Suggestion. The power of suggestion is strong. You're impressionable. You've let these stories prey on your mind, and you've got to snap out of it.
Oh, I should have killed him myself.
Pollock.
I'd do it, too, with my bare hands, if only I had the chance.
Man, you're talking rot.
Look at him there. Look at him grinning at me.
Pollock, that's only a bronze vase.
Always grinning at me, more and more fiendishly every day. Stop it, you devil, stop it, you hear?
Pollock, calm
Stop
yourself. Lie back. Rest.
Rest, yes. Yes. That's what I need.
If I'd only known, I'd never have left you there in Sulima alone. All this might have been prevented.
Oh, might it? Listen, Waterhouse. When you came in, I was just lying here thinking. I see him. I hear him. My sense of sight and of hearing is affected. And someday, my sense of touch will go, too. When it does, I know that will be the end. I'll be finished. And the poor man will finally have his revenge. Won't he?
Pollock, old man.
When you came in, I was lying here, trying to get up the nerve to walk over there and make the test. And I'm going to do it.
No, I won't let you.
You can't stop me, Waterhouse. Don't you see? I've got to. I can't go on like this. I've got to know. Have it over with.
No, Pollock.
It's beyond anything you can do. Stand aside.
But
stand aside, please. Now.
Come back to bed, Pollock. That window is open. If you have a
Never mind. This is just an ordinary bronze vase. Isn't it, Waterhouse?
Pollock, don't do it.
I know it's only a bronze vase. I know that when I will feel only cold metal when I reach out and touch it. I know. Like this. Oh, no!
Pollock, look out! That window! You're backing into that window! Pollock!
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you Pollock and the Poorer Man by H.G. Wells, adapted for radio by John Dunkel, with Barton Yarborough as Pollock, Louis Van Ruten as Waterhouse, and Bill Conrad as Perea. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Fuhrer. Next week,
You are groping through the darkened corridors of a gigantic department store in the dead of night. And suddenly you realize you're not alone. That 100 eyes are glaring at you from the shadows. 100 hands reaching for your throat.
next week, Escape with John Collier's eerie story, Evening Primrose. Good night, then, until this same time next week when CBS again offers you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Did you lose an election bet yesterday? Feel a bad cold coming on? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape.
You were groping in the midnight dimness of a gigantic department store, and suddenly you realize that you're not alone, but 100 eyes are glaring at you from the shadows, 100 hands reaching for your throat, and your most urgent desire is to escape.
Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to the dark labyrinth of a giant department store in the dead of night, and to a fantastic world of night dwellers, as John Collier imagines it in his eerie story, Evening Primrose.
Sadie? Sadie, hey, what's the matter? It's me.
Oh, Sam, you nearly scared me to death. What do you mean coming in so quiet?
Hey, I didn't mean to scare you. I thought you'd be asleep. I didn't want to wake you.
Oh, Sam, I'm glad you're home.
Hey, what's the matter?
Oh, it's terrible. You gotta do something, Sam.
What's terrible?
It's this. Just look at this.
What's terrible about that? Looks like an ordinary pad of paper to me.
That's just it. That's just what I thought. But it's got writing in it. It's awful.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe you better tell me what this is all about.
Well, today I went shopping down at Bracey's department store.
Yeah?
I needed some writing paper, so I picked this up. It was on top of the pile, and bought it and brought it home. But tonight, when I opened it, I found it's got writing in it.
Well, that's nothing so terrible. Just take it back tomorrow and make him give you a new one.
Oh, no, you don't understand. It's what's written in it that's so terrible.
What do you mean, what's written in it?
Here, you gotta read it.
Oh, Sadie.
No, right now. Read it.
Look, Sadie, I'm tired. I've been bowling all
Please,
evening.
Sam, please. Just read it.
All right, for Pete's sake. October 13. Today I made my decision. I decided to say goodbye to the world, to get out, leave, break away. And I have done it. Oh, Sadie, there's a lot of...
Go on, read.
And now I am free. Really free.
Yes, I am free at last. The world is an intolerable place for a poet. I was broke, starving, at my wits' end. And then I had a brilliant idea. I would escape to a place where I had no need to earn a living, where I could write to my heart's content in peace and security. Where is this place? Right under your nose. So close you'd never think of it. I am now living in Bracey's department store. I have everything within arm's reach that anyone would need or desire. And it's all free. Absolutely free. I arrived this afternoon. I'd spent 3 days looking over all of the department stores in town. I decided on Bracey's because of the completeness of their food department. Therefore, this afternoon, I entered the store and went immediately to the 4th floor, to the rug department, and hid myself in this dusty, out-of-the-way corner behind a pile of carpets. Once I'm settled, I'll furnish it with the best of modern pieces from the furniture department. It's small, but I'll be cozy enough. And safe. After the store closed, I made my first venture out. I tiptoed as far as the stationery counter and got this paper, the writer's primary need. Now, after making my initial entry, I'll go out and get food, wine, the pillows for my bed, perhaps a fancy dressing gown. This is perfect. I'll be able to write here. Dawn, October 14th. I'm almost too unnerved to write this. The whole thing is unbelievable. After the store was dark and completely quiet, I crept out and started for the food department. One's footsteps echo hollowly in an empty department store at night, and I found myself gliding along the floor on tiptoe, moving as silently as possible. But the sound of footsteps persisted. Suddenly I realized they were not my own. The night watchman. I was in the Salon Moderne. Quickly I seized a mink coat from a hanger, draped it about my shoulders, and stood stock still. I could have reached out and touched him, but he passed by without so much as a glance. I started to smile, but the smile froze on my lips. There was someone else here. I was looking straight into a pair of eyes. Large, flat, luminous, inhuman eyes peering at me from among the Mrs. Tailored suits a dozen feet away. They belonged to a creature dressed as a man, but he was as pale as a creature found under a stone. His hands hanging motionless at his sides looked more like the fins on a fish than human hands. And then he spoke.
Not bad for a beginner.
I'm sorry. I didn't know anybody else lived here.
Oh, yes. We live here. It's delightful.
We?
Yes, all of us. Don't you see? Look around you.
I looked around. I saw nothing. I looked again. I saw an old man come clambering out from behind a clock. There were 3 elderly ingenues, incredibly emaciated, pale as lace, almost transparent, simpering before the perfume counter. A chintzy lady swam out from the curtains and drapes. They came swarming thick around me, pale, thin, wispy, moving silently, fluttering like gauze in the wind, whispering.
How raw he looks.
Who is he?
As coarse as the sun.
What is he doing here?
A detective. Send for the dark men.
Yes, send for the dark men.
The dark men.
They were pressing around me, clawing, holding me, their pale faces contorted with venomous, inhuman hatred. I was paralyzed. All I could do was repeat over and over again, I'm not a detective, I'm not a detective, I'm not!
A burglar, then.
A burglar? Tie him up.
Hold him, carry him to the place.
Send for the dark men.
Stop. Let him speak.
I'm not a detective. Or a burglar. I'm a poet.
Then what are you doing here?
I've renounced the world. I came here to live where I could be alone. Away from the world.
Why then, he's come over to us. He's just like us.
He's come over to us, a poet.
He must meet Mrs. Vanderpant.
Yes, Mrs. Vanderpant. She's coming now.
I followed their eyes toward the balcony. There, coming down the wall like an ancient spider, clambered an old lady. Wrinkled and cracked and emaciated, she must have been at least 80, a shadowy matriarch. And the things around me bowed and scraped as she reached the floor and floated toward us.
What's going on here? Where is that stupid girl? What's keeping her?
Oh, Mrs. Vanderpant.
Well, what is it? Who's this, Mr. Roscoe?
Mrs. Vanderpant. May I present Mr.
Snell, Mr. Snell, Mr. Charles Snell.
Yes, of course. Mr. Snell. He is a poet, and he's come here to live.
Oh, he has he?
That's what he says, and I believe him.
Well?
He avoided the night watchman quite neatly, for a beginner.
Well, thank you.
Very well. We shall see. A poet should find inspiration here.
Mr. Snell, Mrs. Vanderpant is our grand old lady.
Oh?
I am quite the oldest inhabitant here, Mr. Snell. 3 mergers and a complete rebuilding. But they didn't get rid of me.
Oh, really? How nice.
Where is Ella? Where is my broth?
She's bringing it, Mr. Vanderpant.
Oh, terrible little creature. She is our foundling, Mr. Snell. She's not quite our sort.
Is that so?
I have been here, Mr. Snell, ever since the terrible times of the 80s. I was a young girl then, a beauty, they say, and poor Papa lost his money. Braces meant a lot to a young girl in those days. So when I wasn't able to have a charge account, I came here for good. That's better than a charge account. I was quite alarmed when others began to come after the crash of 1907, but it was the dear judge.
How do you do?
Yes.
The colonel.
How do you do?
Yes.
Mrs. Bilby.
How do you
Mrs. Bilby.
Mrs. Bilby writes plays.
Oh.
And comes of an old Philadelphia family. Oh, you will find us quite nice here, Mr. Snell.
I'm sure I will.
And, of course, all our dear young people came in 1929. Their poor papas jumped from skyscrapers. They couldn't bear to be without charge accounts either.
Do you mean all these people live here?
Oh, and many more. You shall meet them all later.
Oh, here comes Ella with my broth.
Come, you stupid thing.
Mrs. Vanderpant is waiting.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I'm coming as fast as I can.
Now,
Here.
be careful. Don't spill it.
Oh, but she's young.
Well, of course, she is a little younger than most of them.
And she's different. She's beautiful.
Mr. Snell, Ella is Mrs. Vanderpant's maid.
That's right, old man. She's really not our sort at all.
You shouldn't say such things. She can hear you.
Oh, that doesn't matter.
You'll understand these things better after you've been here a while.
But it seems to me that you would...
Mr. Snell, we have certain rules here. They are necessary for our survival. I'm sure you won't find it hard to observe them.
Well, yes, I
I
appreciate...
should advise that you try. If you do not, that would be most unfortunate, Mr. Snell. Most unfortunate for you.
October 15th. You can imagine my feelings last night. My first thought was to escape as quickly as possible. In fact, I planned to wait till morning when the store opened, then quit my hiding place, mingle with the crowds, and leave Bracey's forever. But just at dawn, Mr. Roscoe brought me a cup of coffee, which must have been drugged, for I fell asleep. And when I awoke, I found I had slept all day, and night was closing over the store once more. Later, I've spent my second night here. I saw Ella again. Ella, the pearl of this remote, fantastic cave. She's not like the others, a trifle pale, but otherwise normal and human and beautiful. A child of perhaps 18. She's the only thing that makes this nightmare bearable. October 20th. Escape seems almost impossible. There's a very effective burglar alarm system, and the doors are all carefully guarded. But that's nothing compared to the Dark Men. Who are the Dark Men? I don't know. But they threaten any transgressor with these Dark Men. I shall try to discover who they are. At least I am sure I'm watched, though they've begun to trust me now. Speaking to the night watchman would be suicide. Even if he believed my fantastic story or didn't shoot me as a burglar, I'm convinced that neither Ella nor I could get out of here alive. She and the night watchman are the only real people here. And how the others hate the night watchman.
Odious, vulgar creature. He reeks of the coarse sun.
Oh, come now, Mrs. Bilby. He's really a personable young man. Very young for a night watchman.
Mr. Snell, sometimes I wonder about your taste.
You mustn't stay so much to yourself, Mr. Snell. You must become better acquainted with our ways.
Yes, old man. You must come to the play tonight. We're going to be entertained with one of Mrs. Bilby's tragic comedies. Love in Shadowland. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
I'm sure I will.
It's really a festive occasion, you know. Wanamaker's is coming over.
Wanamaker's?
Yes. The entire colony over at Wanamaker's is coming here en masse to attend the play.
You mean there are people living in other stores?
Oh, dear, yes. Didn't you know? Of course, the best people live in Braces and Wanamaker's.
Oh, come now, Mrs. Bilby. There's some very nice people at Alton's.
I beg your pardon, Mrs. Bilby.
Oh, hello, Ella.
Good evening, Mr. Snell. Mrs. Bilby.
Well, what is it?
Please, ma'am, I'd so love to see your play tonight. May I have your permission?
Certainly not. You know better than that, you stupid creature. You know where you belong. In the basement by the garbage cans.
But Mrs. Bilby
Hush,
couldn't...
Mr. Snell.
Ella, you're becoming entirely too forward of late. I'd advise you to watch your step. Remember the dark men.
Oh, no, please, Mr. Roscoe. I'll be good. I promise I will. No, please don't send for the dark men. I'm sorry, Mrs. Bilby. Excuse me.
Ella, come back.
Mr. Snell, you forget yourself. Let her go.
But how can you treat her like that? Why do you always frighten her? And what is all this about the dark men?
Well, the dark men...
Oh, please, Mr. Roscoe, not now. You'll spoil our whole evening. And I do so want Mr. Snell to enjoy my play.
Very well. Later, Mr. Snell.
But I want to know about the dark men.
Later.
October 21st. At last I found an opportunity to speak to Ella alone. I hadn't dared to speak to her before. Here one has a sense always of pale eyes secretly watching. But last night at the play I induced a fit of hiccups. As I anticipated, I was sternly reprimanded and told to go and secrete myself in the basement where the night watchman wouldn't hear me. This was exactly what I had planned. I went to the basement. There in the darkness, among the garbage cans and the rats, I heard sobbing. Ella! Ella!
Oh.
Ella, is that you?
Yes?
Why are you crying? What is it, Ella?
They wouldn't even let me see the play.
Is that all?
Oh, Mr. Snell, I'm so unhappy.
There. You mustn't cry.
You're the only one who's kind.
Ella, why are you here? Why do they treat you so differently?
Because I'm not like them. I didn't choose to come here.
You mean you're held prisoner?
Yes. You see, I was only 6. I came here on a shopping tour with my mother. I got lost and fell asleep behind a counter. It was dark when I awoke and they found me. Some of them wanted to send for the dark men because they were afraid I would tell on them. But Mrs. Vanderpant said no, I could stay and be her maid. I've been here ever since.
Since you were 6? Haven't you ever tried to get away?
Oh, no. I don't know anything about out there. I wouldn't know what to do. Besides, I'm afraid if anyone tries to get out, they send for the dark men.
Ella, who are the dark men?
Don't you know? Oh, it's horrible.
Tell me.
You know how people live in all the stores, at Gimbel's and Bloomingdale's.
Yes, I know.
Well, the dark men live at the Undertaker's.
Good heavens.
And whenever someone dies or breaks the rules, or when a burglar gets in and sees these people and might tell, they send for the dark men.
Oh, horrible.
They put the body in the butcher shop in the food department. And then the dark men come. I saw them once. It was terrible.
What do they do?
They go in where the dead person is. They have wax with them and all sorts of things. And when they're gone, there's just a wax model left on the counter. Then people put a frock on it, or a bathing suit, and mix it up with the other wax models in the windows. And nobody ever knows.
Ella, you mean all these dummies around us?
Oh, not all of them. But if you displease these people, the same thing will happen to you.
October 30th. I haven't kept up my journal. Writing has been out of the question. Once more, I'm frozen with terror. But not for myself now. For Ella. They hate her. Any time they might turn against her and send for the dark men. My mind is filled with her. I dream of her every day. I'd live to see her at night. We've managed it several times. They trust me now and let me roam about without interference. Finally, tonight, I met her again and said it. Ella, I love you.
Oh, Charles.
I love you, Ella. Let's get married. Or whatever they do here. Then we can live together in my home in the carpet department. They wouldn't dare hurt you then.
Oh, Charles,
Don't look so dismayed. If you like, we'll go away from here. Maybe we can get transferred to Bergdorf Goodman's, overlooking Central Park.
Don't, Charles, don't. You mustn't.
But I love you. Ella, you're not in love with someone else.
Yes, Charles, I am.
But who? I thought you hated them all. It must be Roscoe. He's the only one that's young enough.
Oh, no, Charles, not Roscoe. Especially not him. I do hate them all. They make me shudder.
Well, who is it then?
It's him.
Who?
The night watchman.
No, impossible.
I love him. He smells of the sun.
Ella.
Oh, it was wonderful the way it happened. Don't tell on me, Charles, or they'll punish me.
Oh, no, no.
I was careless, and there he was, coming around the corner in the ladies' lingerie department. I was caught. There were only some wax models in their underthings. There was nothing else to do. I slipped off my dress and stood still.
Oh, I see.
He stopped and looked at me. And Charles, he spoke to me. He said, "Say, honey, I wish they made him like you on 8th Avenue." Charles, wasn't that a lovely thing to say?
Personally, I should have said Park Avenue.
It doesn't matter what street. It was a lovely thing to say.
But what can you do about him? Ella, he belongs to another world.
Yes, to 8th Avenue. I want to go there. Charles, are you really my friend?
Yes, of course I am.
Then I'll tell you. I'm going to stand there again in the lingerie department, so he'll see me.
And then?
Perhaps he'll speak to me again.
Ella, you're only torturing yourself.
No, because this time I shall answer him. He'll take me away.
Take you away? Oh, no, Ella, I couldn't bear that. You don't love him. You only think you do because you think he'll take you out of here, but you don't know that he will. And I will, Ella. I've made up my mind.
No, Charles, I couldn't let you do it. Even if I loved you, you couldn't do it, Charles.
Why not?
Because you really belong here. You've become one of them now.
Ella, you mustn't say that.
It's true. And, Charles, I've got to go. There's someone watching us. I feel it.
No, wait, Ella.
Goodbye, Charles.
No, Ella. Come back. Ella!
Please, old man. You'll arouse the night watchman.
Roscoe.
Yes. Oh, love can be very upsetting, can't it?
You heard?
Yes. Just the last moment or so. Very touching. Yet it's understandable. I've been attracted to Ella myself. So she loves another, Too bad, old boy. Who could it be? Could it be that I am the cause of your heartbreak?
You flatter yourself too much, Roscoe.
Well, then whom? The old judge? Oh, certainly not. The colonel? Hardly.
None of those.
Oh, not one of the customers. The staff?
She loves the night watchman. Can you imagine that? She loves the...
Oh?
Roscoe, I shouldn't have said that. It's not true. At least I don't think it's true. You wouldn't... Roscoe, you said you loved her too. You wouldn't do anything. Tell anybody. This is a secret between us. Between friends, isn't it?
Of course, old man. As secret as the grave.
She's young. Perhaps he'll leave and she'll forget him in time. Who knows? Perhaps she'll learn to love you. Or me.
Of course. In time.
And we'll figure a way to keep her safe here.
Absolutely safe. Now, don't you worry about it. It's almost dawn. Time for bed. Good morning, Mr. Snell.
Early evening, November 4th. I was a fool. I should have known he couldn't be trusted. He must have gone straight to Mrs. Vanderpant because this evening the atmosphere has changed. People flicker to and fro, smiling nervously, horribly with a sort of frightened, sadistic exultation. An informal dance in the record department has been called off. I can't find Ella. I'm going out again now to look for her. Roscoe, what have you done with her?
Shh. Quiet, old boy. The night watchman.
I don't care. What have you done?
Whatever I did was for your own good as well as for the good of us all.
Wait a minute. What is that? What are those people carrying? That's Ella. She's tied up. They're carrying... Ella! Ella!
Stop it, Charles. Stop it.
Oh, let me go.
Oh,
Let me
stop,
go.
Charles. Stop it. You'll arouse the night watchman.
No, they're taking her into the butcher shop. Roscoe.
Yes. Those are the dark men.
Good Lord. Midnight. I'm scribbling this last entry hurriedly. They are in there in the butcher shop with Ella. The dark men. There's only one thing to do. I'm going to find the night watchman and tell him. He and I will save her, if we can. And if we are overpowered, well, I will leave this pad on the stationery counter. Tomorrow, if I live, I will recover it. If I do not, whoever finds this and reads it, look in the store windows. Look for 3 new wax dummies. 2 men, one rather sensitive looking, and a girl. She has blonde hair and blue eyes, and her nose turns up a little. Look for us, and then find them. Smoke them out. Exterminate them.
Avenge us.
Oh, Sam, isn't it horrible?
Ah.
We gotta do something. Tell somebody something. Oh, Sam, what'll we do?
Do? Well, nothing. Go to bed.
But Sam!
Well, whoever wrote this has sure got a weird sense of humor. It's probably some clerk down at Bracey's who ought to be fired.
But you mean you think it's just a story?
Are you kidding? You don't believe this stuff, do you?
Well, I don't know. I
Oh,
just...
forget it, baby. Come on, snap out of it. I shouldn't leave you alone. You get too many ideas when I go out bowling at night.
But, don't you think maybe we ought to just, take it back and show somebody?
Oh, nuts. It's not worth the bother. They'd laugh at you, baby. They'd think you were crazy or something.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I was silly.
Yeah, forget it. Oh, come on. Let's go to bed. Huh? I'm tired.
Okay, Sam. Gee, you know, there for a while I sure was scared. Oh, I even forgot what I was going to tell you. Sam, I found the cutest dress today, only $19.95.
Yeah, baby?
Yeah. It was in the window at Bracey's. It was on a beautiful little wax model with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a turned-up nose. And there were 2 men standing beside...
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you Evening Primrose by John Collier, adapted for radio by John Dunkel, with Elliot Lewis as Charles Snell, Paul Frees as Roscoe, and Pat Lowry as Ella. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Pure. Next week...
After you've had a tough day at the office, or leaning over a hot stove, when your 4 walls seem to be closing in on you, next week at the same time when you want to get away from it all, we again offer you Escape.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.